Okay, let's just jump right in. As someone who spent the better part of the last 30 years, yeah, 3 whole decades, working in actuarial science and risk management, I literally spend my days calculating probabilities, assessing downside risk, and, well, projecting financial ruin. Fun stuff, right? But today, for this explainer, we're going to take those exact same hard-nosed analytical tools and apply them to a completely different kind of portfolio. We're looking at life's ultimate asset class, human memory. Instead of crunching the numbers on traditional investments, we're going to calculate the ROI, the return on investment, of human experiences. We hear all these old cliches about wealth constantly. They get passed down from generation to generation, and we tend to just repeat them without giving them a second thought. But every once in a while, a totally new spin on an old saying pops up, and it forces us to just stop, run the numbers, and completely reevaluate how we're allocating our resources over a lifetime.
And that brings us to this incredibly provocative thought. Money can't buy happiness, but it will certainly get you a better class of memories. Wow. Let that sit for just a second. It takes a concept we're all so familiar with and twists it into this deeply pragmatic strategy for capital allocation. In financial planning, it is so incredibly easy to get laser-focused on just accumulating a massive bank balance, even though we inherently know that, hey, capital alone absolutely does not guarantee a joyful, fulfilling existence. But this quote, it introduces a brilliant little shift in perspective. The goal isn't just to hoard resources anymore. The goal is utilizing that capital to actively curate a legacy of really high-quality memories. If you think about it, your money, in this context, isn't the endpoint. It's really more like the premium you pay today to ensure yourself a substantially higher quality payout later on in life.
When we really break this concept down, we're essentially looking at a sharp, almost jarring contrast between an unavoidable human baseline and a totally actionable strategy for risk management. So, that established wisdom, that money cannot buy happiness, well, that acts as our universal baseline. It represents a shared risk across the board for all of us. No matter how much wealth you amass, the raw, spontaneous emotion of pure joy, you just can't buy that over the counter. It's a strict limitation. But the pivot into guaranteeing a quote-unquote better class of memories acknowledges that inherent limitation while immediately offering a highly functional workaround. Basically, you're using your resources to actively hedge against discomfort, against stress, or against missed opportunities. It doesn't magically manufacture joy out of thin air, but it effectively upgrades your experiential return by mitigating the friction that so often ruins a perfectly good moment.
So let's dive a little deeper into what a better class actually means in practice, both mathematically and emotionally, over the course of a lifetime. This phrase perfectly isolates what is arguably the true currency of wealth. It frames it as the absolute ultimate return on investment. Any seasoned financial planner will tell you straight up, paying a little extra for that direct flight instead of suffering through a budget option with 3 layovers, or booking the hotel right on the beach instead of 2 miles inland, that fundamentally changes the entire nature of the experience. You aren't literally buying the joy of the vacation itself, rather, you're financing the optimum environment for joy to just naturally occur, without all that unnecessary interference. The memories themselves are being graded into classes, exactly like assets in a financial portfolio. It's unromantic, it's highly calculated, but man, it is an incredibly effective view of how our resources translate into our lived human experience. It's all about compounding experiential wealth, where wealth is no longer seen as some magic wand for emotion, but as a strategic tool for environmental curation.
Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway from this whole analysis. Honestly, it's time to audit your own life's portfolio. If comprehensive financial planning is ultimately about curating this rich, lasting legacy of high-quality memories, well, are you investing your resources wisely? If wealth is merely a mechanism for upgrading the quality of our retrospective experiences, if it's really just about optimizing the backdrop of our lives, then what class of memories are you currently buying? It's a question that completely redefines how we view the utility of our everyday resources and the experiences we actually choose to invest in. So from a pure risk management perspective, I really want to leave you with this thought. The greatest risk in life isn't necessarily running out of money. Actually, scratch that. The real ultimate risk is running out of time before you've acquired the memories actually worth looking back on. Think about how you're allocating your own capital as you go about your day.